Hey guys, and welcome back to XO Medical Spa. Today I want to readdress the subject of looking unnatural with fillers. How do you get rid of fillers? And then why do fillers make certain people look unnatural or not inviting anymore? Meaning that is it overly puffy, they don't look the way they look anymore, or in some cases when you're a young person, it's making you look older. So let's talk about the current trends in fillers, why we dissolve it, and why there's been such a trend lately in people dissolving their fillers. I think there's two trains of thoughts when it comes to fillers. Either one, you can try to look more youthful, meaning that once you get to an older age, how do I look younger and more like the way I feel on the inside? I may feel young on the inside, but on the outside, I'm looking a lot older than what I feel. The other one is, are you contouring or changing the way you physically look? Now for me, I prefer to make you look more youthful. And then if we contour within reason. Because if you follow trends, fads, or just latest styles, those things will always go away. Looking young will always be in style. Looking the way you're supposed to look, but just a little bit better, will always be in style. But if you do huge lips because it's the latest trend, that trend will go away. If you do a certain shape of lip, well, you may like it in the moment and it's in style right now, but that trend will eventually go away. If you think back into like the 90s, the early 2000s, when surgery was becoming more prevalent, what was the trend? People wanted huge breasts because back then they wanted you to know they had the ability, they had the finances, and they had the trend to do breast augmentation. So they wanted to show you, boom, in your face, I had breast augmentation. But lately, what is the trend? If you have breast aug, you want it to look natural. You don't want someone to necessarily notice. So that was the trend of beauty in surgery. But now if you look at it, back when fillers were new, right? Bigger, better, bolder. Just because it was new, it was a fad, and people wanted to know, look, I am doing fillers. I'm changing the way I look. I think I look better, but now we're resorting back to more of the natural look. I think that's why so many of my before and afters are usually very, very natural and youthful. And that's why people come to me, because they know if I'm gonna do something, it's more about enhancing what you naturally look like. And I'll always make sure, is this what you wanna do? This picture that you show me, these lips are humongous. In pictures, they don't look that big because in pictures, the pictures usually dial everything back. But for you to notice someone has fillers or someone has that much more luscious lips, that's because they went very, very big in pictures. Now in life, well, in real life, I want to make sure these lips match the way you look. They match your age group. And is it just making you look more youthful, or am I really going something dramatic that you may not necessarily like? Now I'll pull up some celebrity photos, and in this article that I pulled up, it represented fillers that went overboard. Now the thing with celebrities is, we notice it because they're always in the limelight. Also, because they're celebrities, people are always critiquing them. There's articles written about them. They'll finally say, hey, why are these articles being written about me? Why are these people saying I look way different with these fillers? Whereas us, as everyday people, our friends and family aren't necessarily going to tell us, hey, you're looking a little bit ridiculous. You're not looking like the way you do. It's only till someone says something or someone critiques it, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? My cheeks are too big. My fillers are too big. I don't look like the way I do anymore. So if we look at certain celebrities, Kylie Jenner, which we'll pull up a picture right here. We'll look at Khloe Kardashian. Those are the two prominent ones I can think of off the top of my head where they've actually outright claimed, or not claimed, they outright came out and said, hey, my fillers are just way too much. I want to backtrack on it. So if you look in this picture right here, this is of Kylie Jenner. If you look at her lips, she's known for being that young, youthful looking Jenner. She had all these fillers done. She started looking more mature and had that more sexy look to her. And now to this recent picture where her lips are all gone. So you can see that transition from looking very, very young, getting fillers in, and the fillers are supposed to make you look younger, right? But if they're done in a certain way, they make you look more mature and sometimes older than what you actually are. Although she got that sex look, like she got that contouring look, she looked a lot older than what she was. When she dissolved it back to this original picture, you can see she's looking younger again. So that's how lips specifically can make you look older, change your look, but then if you go back to your original look, it makes you look back to what your age specific group is. Another famous person is from one of my favorite shows, Friends, Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox has really been in the limelight because she had this very natural beauty to her. And then all of a sudden over the next couple of years, she was in the headlines everywhere. Oh my God, what did she do to herself? She's looking so puffy. She's done so many fillers. And I'll never judge necessarily what a person does, because to you, when you look in the mirror, you may think it looks good. But with fillers, much like working out, you can imagine this. You're working out every day. You're working out every day. In your head, you look in the mirror, you're like, I just don't see any changes. I don't look fit. To the outward person, they're like, wow, you're looking incredible. You're looking fitter than ever. That's similarly to what happens with fillers. Because you look at yourself every day in the mirror, you don't necessarily see the changes. You start chasing. So you got a little bit of cheek filler. Oh, I'm looking good. A couple months later, you do a little bit more. Oh, I'm looking good. A couple months more, you do a little bit more, you're looking good. But what you don't realize is what the outside person thinks of you, which shouldn't matter, but that critique helps you think about, am I looking younger? Am I looking better? Or am at some point I'm chasing a high? I'm chasing this filler. And with Courtney Cox, she got overblown. She got way too much cheek. She got way too much lip. She got way too puffy. So one, it was making her look unnatural, and two, it was aging her to the point where she wasn't looking appropriate for her age group. She got to the point where she's like, I just don't look that good anymore. And let me read this quote, actually. This might be a little bit more helpful. You don't realize that you look a little off. So then you just keep doing more because you look normal to yourself. She added, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, that looks good. And you don't realize what it looks like to the outside person. That's what happens. As a celebrity, you get all this critique from media, from magazines, from other people. So then all that critique finally hits home. You're like, I don't look like that way I do. But for the person who just normally does it, you don't necessarily know until that family member tells you, your husband tells you, your boyfriend tells you, your friends tell you. Now, the last person I want to bring up, because he's a male, Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell has been on TV since what, American Idol days? So we've known him for the past 20 or 30 years, and we've seen that transition. He's always been a very good-looking, healthy, masculine type of look. And then over the past, what, 5, 6, 7 years, he got fillers, allegedly. But he'll actually admit it. He got fillers, a little bit here, a little bit here. But with males, you have to be even more careful, because if you over volumize a male, or if you volumize a male in a wrong way, you feminize their face. So if you look at the photo here, you'll look at the before, you'll look at the after, and I apologize, these are just before and after pictures, but he has some glasses on the after pictures. But in the before, what you'll notice is his cheeks are wider than the bottom of his face, giving him this V shape. In his after photo, you'll see his jaw is now wider than his cheeks, meaning that he's either vertical or he's a little bit more bottom heavy, which for a man, you want to be vertical, rectangular, or maybe a little bit bottom heavy, meaning you have a very strong jawline. By creating that V shape on him, by creating these huge cheeks on him, we've now feminized him, and that's why it looks unnatural for him. One, cheeks are just way too big, but two, he's become more feminine in his looks because of the fillers. Again, he is like, I didn't realize what I was looking at until people started critiquing me. And I'll link the description in the article before, like these actual quotes from these celebrities is, yes, these fillers, I just went overboard, I went overboard, and then finally I realized it, and then they dissolved it all. How can you as a patient avoid getting overfilled, looking unnatural? If I'm young, can fillers make me look older? Or if I'm older, how are these fillers not making me look age appropriate? One, I think the biggest one is, do you have a provider that's willing to say no to you? Because this is a medical procedure. You may not necessarily know what's appropriate. So if I'm talking about ratios, I'm talking about proportions, I'm talking about cheek volume, I'm talking about facial shape, you don't necessarily know that as a client. You just say, hey, this celebrity looks good. How do I look like them? My sister, my friend looks a little bit younger. They do fillers. How do I get to that? But if the provider just says, okay, you want lips? Let's just do lips. A couple months later, you come back, can I get more lips? Sure, let's do lips. Or any other place, cheeks, chin, jawline. If your doctor, nurse, provider doesn't know how to speak to proportions, and more importantly, knows how to say no to you, that's how you get overblown, overtreated, overvolumized. And I think that last part is, look at your before and afters, and don't just look at yourself in the mirror. Every time you come to the practice, hey, can I look at my before and afters? That will play the biggest role, because we always forget about what we look like, because we look at ourselves every day in the mirror. So we forget what we looked like a couple years ago. We forgot what we looked like a couple fillers ago. Because how many times you as a filler patient has come in and said, hey, I work out too much, I just did fillers, my lips are gone, my cheeks are gone, I don't see my chin anymore. But then me as a provider, I'll pull up the photos, we'll do before and after photos, and you're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. Because we forget what we look like. We chase that high, we chase that filler, we chase that volume. So it goes back to number one. You have to have a provider that's willing to say no. And then correlate that to number 2. Have a provider that will always pull up before and after pictures for you to show you the progress you've made over time and the progress to show, hey, we're good. We don't need any more fillers. I hope that helps in regards to looking unnatural, how much fillers you need, and then how much fillers you need over time, and then how you look as you progress with fillers. The only reason I bring up celebrities is because celebrities are someone we can relate to. If I pulled up random photos of my clients, you may not be able to relate to it because you don't know what they look like before and how they look up now. But celebrities are always in the limelight. We see their transition over the years and we're like, wow, that's just not looking good anymore. So I hope you like that description. Looking natural, there's a big difference between reshaping, contouring, changing the way you look, and then just looking younger and better. So if you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and then give that notification icon so when I release a new video, you guys always get that notification. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.